Saturday morning, last day here in Tokyo. We're up and at 'em. Not super early though. It's just before 9, which I guess is pretty good for us these days. And we are heading to our favorite place for Nicole's favorite place for breakfast, McDonald's.
Daddy!
One last apple pie with breakfast before we go home to reality. And we're just looking out at this amazing view again. Super clear day. I don't see a cloud in the sky today. There's Mount Fuji, past Tokyo Tower. And we are heading out. We still have a lot of packing to do. What a mess. Nicole's feeling very confident we won't have any issues.
No issues.
I'm feeling
for now.
I'm feeling slightly less confident than Nicole. But we'll see. One way or another, it has to be resolved today. So breakfast, then some packing, and then hopefully it'll be all done and we'll be good to go. Then we'll go see if the garden, come back, check out, and then probably go to the Ginza one last time. Right?
One last hurrah.
One last hurrah. There are those people eating overpriced breakfast without an apple pie.
Fools.
Fools.
Oh.
Alright, let's go find McDonald's.
We're going to find it exactly where it is.
Saturday morning here in the Chuo Dori site. And it's a big contrast between a weekday and a weekend. There's like no one down here. I mean, there are people, but usually this escalator is just jammed with a stream of people coming from that escalator. And today there's no one.
I hope McDonald's isn't busy. What if they sold out apple pies?
I don't think McDonald's is going to be busy at all today. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty dead.
You think they would stop making apple pies because they're not expecting a crowd?
Well, didn't you hear that McDonald's stopped making apple pies on weekends?
What?
Yeah, it was getting too taxing on the system, so they had to give the system a break on the weekends.
That's a very cruel joke. Go back to videoing. Stop torturing me.
Breakfast is done. Last McDonald's for a very long time, possibly until the next time we come to Japan. Wow, we actually got all that stuff packed. I'll give you a view of the room when we get back from our walk to the garden or the park or whatever it's called here beside our hotel, the one that I didn't realize it existed till our last trip, and we still didn't go see it on our last trip. And this trip we were determined to make it happen. So we're out on the pedestrian walkways. There's a lot of walkways connecting all of the buildings in the Chuo Dori area above ground, similarly to how they're connected underground. And that's our building there. And this is the Chuo Dori station, which I think only 1 or 2 lines go through. One metro line and one line that goes out to the new island. And usually we go where that dude is going if we're going to the Ginza. This takes you like over some of the major roads into the Ginza. And over there is the garden. So this is how we came yesterday when we went to Tsukiji Fish Market. It's just down here. And we walked along here into there, under that expressway, beside this major road. So we have about an hour and a bit to go enjoy this garden, and then we got to get back to the hotel and check out, get all our bags downstairs, and then we have about 4 hours before we have to get back to the hotel and catch our bus, our airport limousine bus to Haneda, and figure out what this tax-free customs deal is in Japan, because that's something new. That started in late 2014 from what we read, and this is our first time experiencing that. Everywhere is all about tax-free, so you have your passport with you. They'll give you tax-free on anything over 5,000 yen, which is about 60 Canadian dollars right now. But the weird thing is they staple the receipt into your passport, and they stamp it in a way that sort of half stamps the receipt and half stamps your passport so that you can't remove it. And I guess the idea is they want to check your stuff when you're leaving so you don't leave anything behind for somebody. So it sounds like that could be a nightmare, or it could just be they mostly go on the honor system. But okay, we're just gonna cross a couple roads here and get into this garden. Okay, we're at the entrance to the garden and we're looking at the map here, and Nicole just said, I can't believe this has been here all this time and we've never come to visit it. It actually has a lot of history, this garden, because it used to be the garden of the Tokugawas back in the 1600s. There's a 300-year-old pine tree in here. Look at the map. So we're down here at the gate, Otomon Gate. And the 300-year-old pine tree is here. The hotel is over here somewhere. Here. It's a pretty big garden and quite a bit to it. It's not just like a big open field. So let's go in and take a look at Hamarikyu Gardens. Here is the entrance. The stonework. Wow, it's quite expansive and beautiful. And there's Nicole catching Magikarp. Are you catching Magikarp right now?
No, it was just a post. We need 600 yen, please.
We found the 300-year-old pine, and it's definitely an old one. It has a cane. Actually, it has a lot of canes. This part here is looking quite healthy. I would say the main trunk of the tree is looking slightly less healthy somehow. Nicole said, I don't know if the camera picked it up, it's one of the largest and most majestic in all of Japan. So it was planted in 1709 when the 6th shogun decided to put a lot of work in upgrading the garden. It's pretty crazy how they prop up all the branches. Wow, it's huge. Wow, even the entranceway into the canal here, which just opens up into just a big sort of pond, a square pond, a man-made pond. But even the gate is pretty fancy. It looks like a torii gate, except it has a gate. I guess the tide, when the tide comes in, you can see how high up it gets. This is a very well protected flower field. It says here this was sown with oil seed rape on October 25th. So back home, I don't know if I would consider that a flower field, but forget what rapeseed is used for, which oil, canola oil, I think. Apparently there's a water taxi you can take around the bay. We've never done that. I don't know if I really realized it existed, but it does. We just saw it, and there's a stop on that water taxi that stops at the garden here. So you can come in from a different entrance than the one we came in, but from the water. We come to this garden before. It's amazing. There's a lot to see in here. It's really big. And right now we're standing on this cool wooden bridge going over the pond. And I noticed that there's a rock here behind me that kind of reminds me of like a black panther or something, like crouched, its head looking out, like ready to pounce, or it's just sort of surveying over the pond. And I really like seeing Tokyo Tower sort of stretch out of the garden. It looks like, well, maybe not out of the garden, but between the buildings. You can see it as you're walking, like over the trees. It's a really picturesque view. So we were walking around in here in the garden, and Nicole noticed these mounds. And there's a bunch of these mounds here. She's like, I wonder what those are. And we were guessing, and I thought maybe they're for storage, or I don't know if she had a guess, but I guessed for storage. And so we got up to them, and there's a sign in one of them. It's all in Japanese, but there's pictures, so it's easy enough to kind of figure out. So these were for duck hunting. So what would happen is someone would stand in the actual mound and make duck calls out to the ducks and try and lure them into this like little channel that comes up to the mound out of the pond. And then when some ducks get up into this channel, a bunch of dudes come in around the channel with falcons. And then the guy in the hut somehow, I think it scares the ducks, and as they fly, then the guys with their falcons would unleash the falcons, and then the falcons would basically catch the ducks in midair, it looked like. Yeah, so that's an interesting duck hunting approach. I guess before they had guns and stuff, that kind of makes sense. And then they also show, I guess in more recent times, when they would still hunt ducks here, they started using nets. So instead of guys coming in with their falcons, there'd be guys with huge nets, and then they'd be waiting for the ducks to try and fly away. And as the guys scared them up, they would have their nets and they would catch them. Kind of an ingenious way to duck hunt when you don't have guns.
A side note about tea houses in this particular garden, there used to be 9 of them, but they were destroyed through various either fires or earthquakes throughout time. And they're in the process of rebuilding them, and they've got, I think, 4 of them up and running, and they're going to try to work their way down the list.
So they're going to do all 9 of them?
I think that's the plan until they run out of money, or until they find the money. But they're really pretty.
Yeah, they are. There's one there, and then on the other side of this pond, there's one there. Or I wonder if that's one or a couple. And I think there's one over here hiding behind these trees, which we'll get to in a second. A rather striking feature of this garden is just not the garden per se, but just the contrast between the old school and the new school. Like from this vantage point, we're looking out from the pond at all the tea houses that they're building and all the nice pine trees. And then right behind it are these towering buildings of offices and condos and hotels. And it's a really interesting and striking kind of visual to see the mixing there. It's really neat to actually just look at the tree line and these really nice majestic trees, and then they're dwarfed by these huge buildings and the wood and the leaves against the concrete and the steel and the glass. Yeah, it's a really nice, so I could sit here and stare at that for a long time. What have they done to this tree?
It's called Yuki Tsuri. That's when you protect the trees from the winter, from frost and the snow. And it's become so popular that they started doing it as decorations in areas that doesn't even snow. Because look at it, it's gorgeous.
So Nicole was talking about how they're working on rebuilding all the tea houses and restoring certain areas of the garden here. And here's an example. They're building a new bridge. It looks like they've maintained certain architectural details, or a lot of them, I guess. It looks like an old school bridge. And then they have this meshing sort of, green wires in this pattern on this mound here, and I wonder if that's how they're planning out the garden. Well, we were heading out to the exit and we saw a sign pointing in this direction for a duck memorial. And we're like, what the heck is that? We gotta go check that out. And I was assuming that it was, so many ducks kind of like here with those successful duck hunting mounds that they had to erect a memorial for the sheer number of ducks that they probably took down here. The memorial is kind of small, so I think it's just kind of a token, just like a token memorial here. I don't know. Oh, I think Nicole wants to say something.
When I saw the sign for the duck memorial, in my mind I was envisioning a big ass marble duck statue on top of a pedestal and lots of like small little ducky, gravestones, but I am underwhelmed. That's just a rock.
I bet those duck taste good though. That was a really great visit. I highly recommend this garden if you're in the area. If you come to the fish market, you could easily come and do this after or before. It's a really good, well-kept garden, and they're doing a lot of work to upgrade it and, as Nicole said, add tea houses and whatnot. There's a helicopter hovering above us. They love their helicopters here. It's been hovering above the garden for the last 10-15 minutes. I can't see it now though, but we are going to bolt to the hotel and check out, and then probably go to Ginza.
Okay, well, before we go, let us tell you our favorite things about the garden. Torii gates, little shrines,
Wiry pine trees hanging out over the water.
pretty bridges over ponds, tea houses, meandering canals, perfectly manicured vegetation.
All right, checked out. So 8 bags waiting for us back at the hotel. That's quite a few, but that's what we got. So 2 checked each and 2 carry-on each. And now we're just going to make a family mart run. Hopefully not our last. Could be our last. Hopefully not our last. And I'm really trying to debate here. Do I want a pizza-mon bun or a curry and cheese bun? All right, I made my decision. What do you think it was, Nicole?
I think it's gonna be curry.
You would be right. It's the curry bun. Curry with cheese. The last one for the trip.
It looks so soft and poofy. It's like biting into a cloud.
It is. Let's go. It's our last meal, sit-down meal here in Japan, and we came in for, it's like a donburi, I think. I got pork cutlet and egg on rice, and Nicole got tempura. How's your tempura?
I think it's one of the best ones you've had.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. Really crispy. Actually, I haven't eaten the shrimp yet, so hold on. Yeah. I think it's definitely the best one we've had since we've been in Tokyo.
I tried your pumpkin. It's really crispy.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember I've been here like maybe 4 years ago. I think Michael was sick and I came on my own, and I remember sitting here. And it's good that they're still around.
And it's still really good.
Yeah.
Mine's exactly what I wanted for my last meal. A deep fried pork cutlet on a bed of rice with egg and sauce. It's really good. The pork is cooked really well. It's really crispy. The egg it's just really good. I really like this dish. So we are going to finish this up and then walk down the main drag here in the Ginza and maybe go to another place for a bit more food. We'll see what happens. Did you enjoy lunch?
I did enjoy lunch. I was not expecting to enjoy as much as I did because I had something else in mind, but it was really good in the end. And the company was wonderful.
That's me. Lunch was really good. That really hit the spot. I'm glad we found that place for our last meal. Now we have a bit of time to walk on down the Ginza here, and on the weekends they close the main road, so it becomes a pedestrian road. So it makes it nice to stroll down. It sort of takes the busy sidewalks and makes them a little bit less busy. It's a little bit more spacious feeling, and they also put tables and chairs out along the route so that you can have a little break. Yeah, so we're just going to do this for a bit, and then we are going to head back to the hotel.
we would expect that there'd be a pretty big difference between the Ginza during the weeknights and what it'd be like during the daytime during the weekends, but the difference is drastic. It's literally night and day. They closed off the street like Mike said, but the sheer volume of people strolling, hanging out with their families, people going hand in hand on dates and stuff.
And shopping.
And the shopping, it's almost overwhelming.
It is. When we started this walk up there, I was saying how airy it felt, but it quickly became extremely busy and not airy. It's even with the street open, it's at times a little bit tricky to walk. So look at all the people.
Good thing you're tall, Michael. Otherwise, no one would know what it would look like.
That's a lot of people. All right, we're done and heading back to the hotel. We just walked around the Ginza after we ate lunch and didn't really get up to too much. Just sort of leisurely strolled around. And then we just stopped at Donk, which I don't think we've spoken about Donk too much. We might have mentioned it, but we didn't really explain it. So Donk is like the Japanese Walmart. That's how I've seen it described on the internet. It's crazy. It's just, Walmart is Walmart. Donk is like just a crazy version of it. All the aisles are super narrow. They're just jam-packed with stuff. Stuff's spilling out everywhere, and it's cheap. And it's this one near us, Nicole points out, is small. It's only 2 stories. We've been to some that are 3 or 4 stories. But yeah, this one's just a small one, but it's like jam-packed. It's crazy busy. We could go in the morning and you come back in the evening. The shelves have been just pillaged. It's really crazy. We often go there because they have food, like snacks and that type of stuff that we want to bring back home. So we go there and we load up, and about half of one of our big suitcases is full of stuff from Donk. Like I got some 6-pack of Boss, Nicole got various chips, we got chocolates and biscuits and all kinds of stuff, Japanese snacks from Donk at a good price. Like it is a discount store, so the stuff's quite a bit cheaper than if you went to a Family Mart, for example, or a grocery store. Maybe that's hit or miss, but it's very convenient, but it's jam-packed with tourists just buying loads and loads of stuff to bring back home with them. So we did that. Nicole just had to pick up a few things they ran out of yesterday, but the shelf was full earlier, and then by the time we came back to pick it up, it was almost all gone. So it's a very popular spot. So right now we are just going down into the underground to stop at our Family Mart one last time, and then we're going up to wait for the bus. We're taking the airport limousine, picks us up right at the hotel, grabs our heavy bags, and then we're off. So not sure exactly where you'll see us next, but we have in a little bit of a rush. All right, we've made it onto the limousine bus. It's pretty much right on time. It's 5:57. I think he pulled up pretty much 5:55, and that's when he was supposed to show up. Pretty empty so far, but I think it's going to go to a bunch of hotels before we get to the airport. We love taking this bus because we don't have to deal with our luggage getting to the airport. The first trip, I'm pretty sure we took the train back up to Narita, and that was not fun with really heavy bags. So this makes it really easy, and they have a variation of this for Narita, which we've taken in the past, and this one's going to Haneda, which is the first time we've flown in and out of Haneda. So I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and then deal with the mayhem, which is the airport and figuring out this customs stuff.
We did it!
We made it to the airport. We are in line to check in now. That was pretty painless. I did have Nicole kind of had a panic attack, wondering, are we on the right bus? Because it seemed to be taking a long time. So, but it was the right bus, and we are here, and the line at ANA is unfortunately rather long. So we're just waiting for our turn to drop off these bags, and then we're free. Apparently you don't have to show your items when you go through customs. That's what the information person told us. I went to the counter and asked, so we just check our stuff, they take the receipts, and that's it. So that seems kind of weird, but that's good. We don't have to deal with these bags for much longer. into the lounge. So we're through security, which was a complete breeze. We did the customs thing, which was basically walk up to a counter. There was a girl working there. She told us to take the tags out ourselves and give them to her. We did, and she put them in a box, and that was that. So that was very, very weird. And then immigration was easy, just a stamp, done. And then our gate was really close to that area, and the lounge is right across from the gate, upper floor. So yeah, it was really smooth getting through the airport here. And so now we're getting settled in the lounge. I got some food. They have really good smelling chicken curry, and some sushi rolls, an onigiri, and they had sake. So I helped myself to some sake. And I believe that's our plane out there. I can't really see it, there's too much glare. The lounge here is really nice actually. It's quite big, and it's overlooking the airport. I'm watching planes take off right now. Unfortunately, they frosted the glass really weirdly, sort of part way from the bottom up, so Nicole might not be able to see out. We've got about 2 hours here in this lounge, and then we're going to go for boarding. So we're just going to, I think, enjoy some food and chill out for a bit, and then board the plane. Like, what else are you going to do? I mean, Nicole might go down and do some shopping. The airport looked pretty nice, or she'll do some window shopping, I think she said. So yeah, it's a really nice lounge, and I'm looking forward to relaxing here before the flight. All right, I'm back. I tried the curry. It is really good. I'm really surprised. They called it an A&A original curry. I mean, it's chicken, I think I said. It's really, really good. It's got a good amount of spice. Like, I could feel it just sort of tingling my tongue right now. And something interesting. They didn't have actual pickles, but they have this stuff, which they called a sweet pickle something or other. It feels kind of like a relish to me. So I'm just going to squirt some of that onto the rice with my curry and give that a try. But yeah, the curry's really good. I'm really shocked. One of the great things about a lot of lounges is that they have showers, so you can have shower service, and that's great for us because we've been out all day feeling kind of grimy, and it's good just to feel a little bit fresh when you get on the airplane. So we both went up for shower service. So you just go in, check in, they give you a pager. When your shower's ready, they page you, you come up. So I've sort of got started. I almost forgot to film this. So this is what the shower room looks like. It's a toilet, a shower, a sink here, and they give you a whole bunch of amenities so you can, you got body soap, shampoo and conditioner. I'm not going to wash my face wash, shaving cream. Not sure what those are. One's a, I don't know, cleansing oils, and then like toothbrush. I'm going to use that, razor, hairbrush, all that kind of stuff. Slippers even. So I only have 20 minutes in here, and it's pretty tight as you can see, but it's great to get a shower if you're on like a multi-leg journey, or like us, you didn't have access to a shower before you headed to the airport for a late night flight. Feel better after that shower. It's a quick rinse off. ANA has some kind of thing going with Star Wars. Some of their planes for the previous Star Wars, The Force Awakens movie, they had been painted like sort of like R2-D2 and stuff like that. And here in the lounge, that trend continues. They have some interesting toys on display here. Holland Chewy. Pretty cool. Alright, we made it onto the plane. Just a quick elevator ride down from the lounge, across the hallway. It was nice that the gate was right across from the lounge entrance, and it was already boarding, so we just went through, and this airport had a separate entrance for business versus economy, so we just got in really quick, got into our seat, and we're just getting settled. Unfortunately, we're not side by side. Nicole's ahead of me, and she's getting settled. But out the window, as I was mentioning, the Star Wars plane. There's one right across from us, BB-8 plane. So if Nicole and I did sit together, we wouldn't have window seats. The only way you can sit together is in the middle. So this configuration is a 1-2-1. So there's Nicole.
We showered.
She's happy that we showered. So I'm just gonna get settled, take off soon hopefully, and show you anything interesting that happens, probably the meals. Let's take a look at all the stuff that comes with the seat. So there's a pillow, noise cancelling headphones, slippers, amenity bag, eye patch, lip balm, earplugs, hand cream, propaganda, facial mist, toothbrush, comforter, nice comfy comforter actually. And this is a mattress pad that you can lay down on the chair when you make it for a bed. The mattress is really good actually. It sounds kind of silly, but it's actually quite comfortable. So yeah, there's a pretty good amenity pack and comfort stuff here. So I'm not going to have a hard time enjoying this flight. In Canada, back on Canadian soil. We've been here for a couple hours now. Got off the flight, got our bags, got through customs, all that kind of stuff, no problem. Rechecked in, went through security, and got to the lounge. So that's where we've been for the last couple hours. Flight was good, slept most of it actually. Pretty much right after dinner, I fell asleep. So that was good actually. The bedding was really comfortable. And I don't feel refreshed though. I'm really looking forward to getting home. We're about to go down to the gate and board for our last flight from Vancouver here to Toronto, 4.5 hours. And I'm looking over here because I'm watching all of this activity. Just watching them get planes ready and watching planes come and go. They are landing over here periodically. And unlike the flight out, we can see the mountains from this angle. I guess we were in the international area on the way out, so different view. Hard to believe, maybe 12 hours ago? I don't know how many, roughly 12 maybe. We were walking the Ginza, and now we're here back in Canada. It's pretty crazy. It was a really good trip. We'll probably have to do some recap filming while we're at home and just sort of recap the trip. Like, what were our favorite things? what would we want to go back and do again, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll have to see how all this editing goes. Now, this will be my first real editing project. I haven't edited any other of the trips. When I filmed Switzerland, we went to Europe, and I worked from there for a couple of weeks, and we were on vacation for a week, and I filmed some of that. And then this is really the first really good, I think, filming job where we got a lot of footage. So now I'm gonna have to sit down and edit it all. By the time you see this clip, if it even makes it, all of that work will have been done. So we will, I guess we're just gonna go down to the gate, get on that plane. It's an old plane, so nothing to write home about. And next time you see us, we'll probably be in Toronto. Maybe on the plane, we'll see.
Oh dear, our Japan series is over!
Oh yeah, we're done. We're finally done getting through all that footage we filmed on that 29-day trip back in 2016.
I had so much fun reliving it though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Getting to see all the places that we went and all the food that we had. It was a really good experience putting all these videos together for all of you.
Did you do 35 videos?
It was 35, 36 videos, yeah.
Wow, well done you.
Yeah, we did a good job.
I mean, well done us.
Yeah.
Do we have an Instagram account?
We do have an Instagram account. It's listed down below. We've basically been using it for promoting this series. As we're putting out videos, we put out pictures from the time of the trip, but we might start using it to give you little sneak peeks into what we're doing in the present time. So you'll be able to see trips that we're on currently that will be coming in the future as series on the channel.
Do we have a blog?
We do have a blog. One of the goals of this channel and the blog was to try and document everything, hence the name Documented Travels, of the places that we've been, the places we've eaten and stayed at, so that if anybody ever wants to try and find one of these places they've seen in our videos, they shouldn't have a problem. We have Google Map links to pretty much every place. I think there's only one place I couldn't find.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time trying to get the exact location and addresses down so that everybody else could come and visit the same spots that we've been to.
Yeah, it does. It takes a little bit of time, but I find it a lot of fun.
Are we anywhere else on social media that we should let people know about?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it.
But on YouTube, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel down below and click that little notification bell, because this series is ending, but we've got a whole bunch of content coming, and a new series will be starting very soon. So you don't want to miss that if you're enjoying our videos.
Yeah, we definitely want you to join us.
Yeah, so subscribe, and I guess we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you in the next series. But there's going to be a segment after this that kind of talks you through some of the tax-free shopping in Japan. That's relatively new. I think it started up in 2014. So at the time, it was quite new to us. And we learned a few things, and we'll share that with you in the next segment. So we'll see you in the next series.
Goodbye.
All right, we got some more information about this whole customs thing that I was kind of stressing out about before we got to the airport. We bought a whole bunch of that stuff at Donk. You can see here, like what they did was they wrapped it up in all these plastic bags, and then they taped it closed with this red tape. So all of our packages that we bought of food, they did that too. And you can see this big ass one. So these were some of the infos that we figured out. So there's two groups of tax-free that you can purchase in Japan. There's perishable and non-perishable. So if you go to a store and you're going to buy a mix of the two, and there's a minimum of 5,000 yen you have to buy before you get the tax-free. So it's they separated it out. So like at one point we went to the cash with 3,000 yen worth of perishable and 2,000 yen worth of non-perishable, thinking that that was 5,000 yen and we would get tax-free, but we found out that no, that's not the case. You have to have 5,000 perishable and 5,000 non-perishable, or vice versa, whatever. And so with the perishable, they don't want you eating it there, obviously. The idea is that you're buying these goods and you're taking them out of the country. So that's why they wrapped them all up and taped them closed so that we couldn't eat them or give them away while we were in Japan. So, and perishable stuff, they just give you the tax-free, and they put the receipt in your passport. So like Nicole's passport was like extra thick because of the receipts that we had collected throughout the trip. And again, you're not supposed to give those away. You're supposed to take that with you. So from what I was initially reading on the internet about this, and this was the more official like Japanese government type documentation, you're supposed to show all the things you bought that matches up to all the receipts in your passport when you go through customs at the airport. So I was kind of worried about that because we had quite a bit of stuff, and it was like I didn't want to spread it out through all our bags. So we packed all the stuff we bought into one bag, thinking if they do want to see stuff, then it'd be easy to pull it out. But when we got to the airport, we asked the information desk, how do we do this? Like, where do we go to show them the stuff? And they said, well, it's through security. So like, oh, okay. So you got to check your bags. And she's like, yes. And then I asked her, do you have to show the stuff? And she said, no. So I was a little bit dubious because I'm paranoid, but then what are you going to do? You got to check your bag. So we checked all that stuff, and then we went through security, and then right past security was a little well, not super little, but a desk where they were collecting the receipts. And so we walked up to her and gave her the passport, thinking that she's going to want to look it through and do whatever she's got to do. But she didn't want to do that. Basically what she wanted was for us to take all the receipts out of the passport and put it in a box. So she didn't look at anything. She didn't look at the receipts. She didn't even come close to even asking for any of the goods. So that's what we did. We just took everything out of the passport, and put all the receipts in her box. And then we just walked past her and went to immigration, I guess it was, where they check and stamp you out of the country. So yeah, there was no need to worry. It was all really straightforward. As Nicole kept pointing out to me, I guess like a ton of people come in to shop, and that's, you come to Japan to shop, a good number of tourists, I guess. So yeah, very straightforward. But the perishable and non-perishable kind of threw us a little bit at first, so hopefully that info helps somebody, and this explains that whole process. Perishables get wrapped up and taped, and you're not supposed to open this and eat it. And non-perishables is they just give it to you, and we actually used a bunch of stuff we bought throughout the trip, and they don't seem to want to see it. I don't know if they ever have like random checks, but we would have been screwed because everything was checked before we got through security. So that is our update on customs and tax-free shopping in Japan.